Welcome back. This is Sasha the Catalyst, and I have back with me Laetitia Phantastic. Thank you so much for coming back on the show. Today, I think we're going to talk about splits for sure, but I don't know what else we'll be talking about. But it's so great to have you back, and I really enjoyed our last conversation. And welcome.
Hi, Sasha. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to be discussing with you again.
Yes.
And it's just, it's so much fun. So much fun. And I was just saying, like, I almost forgot our appointment today, and because I was just like drowning in melancholy or something like this, so something not very pleasant. And I was just saying how nice it is to be with you and to feel the mechanics, to feel how much being, I'm suspecting, being connected to the part of me that are undefined, in undefined centers usually. So that's for sure. It's making a difference because I'm not usually having my sacral defined. And with you, I have. And that's making a huge difference. And also like the relief of being bridged, since I'm not bridged every day either. And it's always like, it's just easier that way. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I love being with people that are connecting me to all parts of me. And it's just so nice. And I'm really enjoying the relief of that.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a little bit. There are some human design teachers that say that we all have all parts of the chart, but just some of us carry that certain energies inconsistently, like in an open or undefined center. Mm-hmm. And then other human design teachers teach that you're basically missing something if it's undefined. And so, but what you were referring to when you said bridging is really that some of the charts say that there's a split, which means that there's definition or partial definition in some of the channels, but it doesn't make a full connection to the whole body graph, that there's like two islands basically in the chart, or three islands, which would be would that be a triple split if there's three mini islands of energy, right? Yeah. And so my husband has a lot of defined centers, but because of the way his gates and channels are laid out, he actually has a triple split. So I think he actually has all of the channels or all of the centers except one defined. And so that's a lot compared to me, who has only two defined. But I have a single definition because that's easy to do with only two centers. But he is a triple split. And so when I guess I wanted to make sure parents knew what we were talking about before we carry on to some of your observations about that. But the split just means that sometimes we need that extra energy from someone else's chart in order to connect, say, one motor center to our throat, or the spleen to our the spleen's an awareness center. But if it's defined with the subconscious energy, for example, and it isn't attached, it's a kind of an island to itself because of a split, we might not be able to access the wisdom from that as easily as we would if we were standing near somebody who bridges that split with us. And I think that's kind of what you're alluding to, that we were, I don't have a sacral energy, so I thought that was interesting that you said that I can feel some of the sacral energy. Maybe it's just leftover stuff from doing school with my kids this morning, two of them are sacral defined, but I do have like 4 of the gates in the sacral center are activated. Is that what maybe we end up defining each other when we're together?
I'm just checking that.
Yeah.
No, we're not. No, we have very similar gates. So that means you're connecting me to my solar plexus.
Oh, yes.
Like I have 2 gates in undefined center. I have my design sun and my design earth. And you're connecting me to my design sun, which is the 30th gate, and and I guess the energy I must be feeling, then it's only just all the centers we are defining together, because we have quite a few. So, and it just, like I was saying, the difference between being with someone who is connecting me, with bridging me in that way, it's massive. I know that my partner with a triple split, he doesn't have that. It's different from him, and it's very different. I can sense that. I can sense them in the way he's interacting with people. It's not the same. He's not looking for it the way I'm looking for it. Like we have like Ra was a single definition too, and he sometimes joke about how much all the the soulmate stuff and the pairing together, it's a lot conditioned by people like me, by single splits, because we have that craving to be with someone in a way that other people don't have. Like you don't need us in that way, and we really much need you in that way, and the it's not something we're missing, but it's something the mind thinks we're missing. So it's like it can be it's the most important force in not self force in our definition, and so all my not self is for, of course the centers are doing it too, but like you have a hierarchy of not self in the design, and when you're single split, the first most important force in your life for your not self is your bridges, and then the centers. And when you're triple split, or when you're quadruple split, or when you're single definition, it's the centers first. And gotcha. So it's a very different experience of the not self, and it's been quite interesting to watch. And yeah, the fact that I'm not bridged every day, it's making me very sensitive to it. It means that when it happens, I notice a difference, and I'm not always able to say that's what it is, because my experimentation is only like it's going to be 5 years next fall, so I don't always know the difference. Like the sacral energy, I was pretty sure was here, but at the same time, it's here in the transits. Yes.
Yeah, it is. So, that's true.
It's so confusing. Yeah. It's so confusing, but the bridging thing, it's, that there's some form of relief. And it's a very, very pleasant energy to be hooked up to. And it's just so much so that when we are with someone who is bridging us, it's the deepest conditioning that can happen. And so Ra was advising that we get it not necessarily from our partners, but more from the communities outside, or the public spaces, or things like this.
Oh, sure.
And I can,
like going to a coffee shop or something, work to get to bridge,
or even or even for groceries at the supermarket. Like when I'm really cranky for a while, like my partner knows that taking me out in public spaces will make it better, because I will get hooked up in that way. So the mechanics have a very like practical effect in that way, and it's so good. I can even go to McDonald's and at the drive and feel that okay.
Totally.
I don't know what happened, but something happened there. Just so weird. It's been fascinating work, and for him the same. And even in our relationships, because he doesn't bridge me, and he doesn't bridge me in a way that doesn't bridge our relationship. So our relationship is a split too. And so that's a very special way of bonding with someone, because it means that the mind is going to keep feeling like something is incomplete. And since my bridge is incomplete, it's going to be about my bridge. And it's going to, for me, it's going to be about depth. It's going to be about the depth of intimacy we haven't together, or the depth of connection and that kind of things. And
because it's your gate 48, which is about it's like a well, or the gate of depth that's off the top of the spleen. Yeah. And I do have that defined in my chart. I can't remember by which planet, but you bring me up to a good point too, that there's really an art form to analyzing the chart, because like you said, not everything in the chart carries the same weight. Yes, they're all, I mean, because we kind of look like at it like it's a 2D picture at first, but it really has depth. For example, the gates that are being activated by your sun placements are a lot stronger and are going to define who you are a lot more than the gates that are activated by your Pluto, for example, or by your
Yeah.
Saturn. Not to say that those aren't significant, but I've read that that it's like 70% of your energy is by the gates, and then another 15% by the earth gates. So that's still a lot of like strong energy that leaves the rest of the planets, if you will, kind of sharing like a small percentage. And so we have to look at that as an application or art form too. It's even if we all had identical planetary activations, your well, actually, that would be that was totally illogical. Even if we had identical charts, I mean, your planets could be activating completely different energies in that chart than mine are, and that would make us still different.
Yeah.
We're talking about the gate 48 off the top of the spleen.
Yeah.
And so I actually have an open spleen. So I was wondering if you would be, I know a lot of parents who are not splenic projectors. they definitely have a hard time. I have a hard time understanding what exactly that experience is like to have a splenic hit and to use that as a guiding force in your life. I mean, you're a very self-aware splenic projector. So I was wondering if you would be able to take some time to talk to us about what that experience is like for you and how you observe your splenic hits. Would that be okay?
Certainly try. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I can definitely try. It's just, you know, it's complicated because like projectors, we're not good at knowing ourselves. That's not what we're here for, you know. So there's always a lot of doubt when I'm sharing that kind of stuff. But I've been observing that for a while, and my favorite projector to have around is Splenic 2. So that means that she's teaching me a lot how it is too, and she's describing a lot of sensations. And we've discovered, like, it's been delightful to discover how much it can be similar in that way. And it's just, at the same time, I would say it's one of the easiest authorities to have around, because we can actually live out the collective conditioning around, you know, following your instinct and your intuition. Well, that's what our authority is about. So there's some kind of alignment in that way with the collective that makes it easier, you know, to just learn that. But at the same time, it's still so much going in counterflow with the way the world is structured, because we only have truth in the now. And so even when I'm invited to something and I'm able to say yes right away, which you wouldn't be and being correct, or someone emotional and an emotional projector wouldn't be, it doesn't mean that it's going to happen. You know, it means that apparently I can say yes, but the process between the yes and the actual invitation, if it's not right now, it may totally change and not be about the invitation at all. So that's a very tricky place, because it's just, it means that I'm appearing as if I'm changing my mind constantly. Sure. And I definitely am, because it's just like it's that's how I'm made, you know, like I can say yes and 10 seconds later have something in my body that tells me no. And it's tricky, especially with an open ego, you know, all the commitment stuff, all the, I need to prove that I'm a reliable person, you know, and my G that want me to have consistent direction, you know, like it's, and feeling like I know where I'm going, even if you don't know where you're going, but that's another story.
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely with that, I have an open G2, and I'm like, I don't know where I'm going, because it doesn't matter. I mean, it literally doesn't matter for me. Yeah. What matters is that I'm in an environment where there are people who recognize me and are treating me with that kind of, I mean, I don't have to be put on a pedestal. I don't mean that. But when we projectors talk about recognition, I think that what I'm if I were to change the word into something that might make more sense to non-projector, to other energy types, it's not so much like recognizing me and then you have to bow down and worship me. Like it's not that kind of recognition. It's more like I see you for who you are and the gifts you have to bring to this
Yeah.
situation.
Oh
And
yeah.
I absolutely cannot function unless there's at least a minimal amount of I at least value your contribution as a human being, even if I don't really know you well enough to value you beyond that. But if that's missing too, like it's a complete, I have no energy to give to so, and it isn't a choice. It's literally mechanics. I can't even muster it up. I'm like, there's nothing there. I can't help you. You
Oh
know?
yeah, definitely the recognition part. It's mechanical. It's
Mhm.
not about. It's not even about praising. It's not even
It isn't
about.
about my ego. Yeah. Right.
Like it's just it's not, our not self is recognized too.
Mm.
And just if you're in not self, the not self is recognized. In that way, all the types can, they don't crave recognition the way projector do, but even other types have recognition because it's about what other pick up from our definition and
Mhm.
what they see of us, and when they see our not self, well, they recognize the not self, so it can be very unpleasant to be recognized. Actually,
Mhm.
like when someone is pointing out my not self, I hate it, but they recognize me.
Mhm.
So I still get to have something from it, and it's just
Yeah, true. I never thought about
very
that.
unpleasant, but still here.
Interesting.
And yeah, definitely I can a part of the resistance is being around people that wants me to be decided for something and to stay with it and to be able to, like to, yeah, to
Mhm.
commit to something, and I cannot do that. And it's just, even if I had a defined ego, I still couldn't do that because I still would be splenic,
Mhm.
and it's just that's a difficult part because people don't want that. People want you to know, it's there's even that propaganda around. When I'm using propaganda, by the way, it's very neutral. Like
Mhm.
it's all the things we hear
Yeah,
all the time,
the
over and over.
messages,
Yeah,
consistent, like,
yeah,
yeah, there's plenty of media messages about what beauty is supposed to look like or what people are supposed to act like. Definitely, we have a
yeah.
cultural conditioning for sure.
Oh, for sure. And we are supposed to know what we want.
Mhm.
And the fact is that if you don't ask me in the now what I want, I cannot tell you. I would be lying. It would be my mind responding to you, and not
Mhm.
not my body. And
Mhm.
the spleen is, it's an alert system. There's not many yes. It's more. It's yeah. It's either yes now or not now, and that's
Mm.
all you have. It's very primitive in that way, and not now feels a bit like, it feels unsafe. It's like, I know that having an open spleen, an undefined spleen, you feel a bit unsafe all the time, and we don't. We have that ease, that feel good,
Oh,
that
sure.
it's here as long as we are ourselves. And as long as we follow our strategy and authority, we feel safe. But
Mhm.
when we don't feel safe, that's the nose. And it can be so subtle because it's not, the spleen is not talking. The spleen doesn't have words. That's one of the things I hate about the collective, is that it's like our authorities are talking to us, and authorities don't talk. It's the
Nope.
body.
Right.
It's
Right.
sensation. Like it's all about the body, and for us, it's going to be so subtle and so small. It's something, and
Yes,
not
you
a
said it's like a
stomach.
sensation.
Yeah,
And not go. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I want to make sure. Like, is that where you go? I'd love to hear about the different variety of sensations you and your other splenic projector friend have observed. What is it? You're right. With an open spleen, I'm not. Again, I want to know. I have one son that has a defined spleen, and I have several friends that are splenic projectors. I apparently get along with splenic projectors myself, but I don't. But again, that's a mental note. I'm trying to understand because I
mhm.
care. I don't know that I can connect as far as my own experience, but I would love to kind of try to get inside your experience and see if I can understand it better. What is,
Mm.
sorry, so I didn't mean to derail your train of thought, but that's kind of where I was going to is what does it feel like in your body? Tell me about the mechanics of it. What does it feel like?
Sometimes it's just electricity in my spine. Sometimes it's just like those, how do you call that? I don't remember. The
Like
goosebumps.
goosebumps? Yeah.
Yeah. And it can be in the stomach, it can be in the nervous system, it can be everywhere. And it's only like something feels wrong, something feels unsafe. And there's, yeah, something is happening. And it can be tricky because, for example, my dear son